Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to everybody out there. My name's Justin B. I am a son of an all-powerful, perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of one day at a time recovery. And I'm here with the intelligent agent. We're back here with Noodle with Nikki. She's the spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki. Introduce yourself. Talk to us a little bit.
Hi, everybody. According to my big book, and that is my favorite book on the planet. Yes, there's many others. I'm studying Stoics right now, Marcus Aurelius and all this stuff. One of my sponsees, Justin, sent me a daily reader, and it's just so special. And you know what I have a gift of doing is hearing that and then finding the same quote in the big book, because there's nothing new under the sun. So I am an intelligent agent spearhead because my favorite book, the big book, tells me 30 times to remember who I am. And you know what? Not only, I don't want to blame the menopause. Not only am I getting younger or older, I don't want to even celebrate birthdays anymore. That's a facade. But I'm just literally, I don't know what's happening. My mind forgets. My forgetter forgets how wonderful, powerful, special I am daily. And so I'm excited to be back here as we talk about it. And what does noodle mean? We're mulling things over. We're noodling out basically the truth of who and what we are and reprogramming our minds to not forget or to remember how to find that information when we do forget.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. Just grateful to be here, sitting down with you and out in the listening audience. We love being in your life, and we're grateful that you're in our life. All right, and on that note, if you have a question for us for the Noodle It Out with Nikki that is, well, related to life, but related to your recovery, your walk on this path, please send it in. You can do that through the Noodle WhatsApp group. There's a link to that in the show notes. You can do that by emailing us at noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and we'll get to those questions here. You know, Nikki, as you and I were talking before we hit record here, we both talked about fear and how loud it seems to be in the world today. And I can speak for myself. I think in the last episode, we talked a little bit about doing 10th steps. And for me recently, fear has been the thing that that is cropping up most often. I spot it. It's not crippling me because I'm 10th stepping it immediately, but it sure crops up regularly and a lot in a lot of different ways because of changes in my life, changes in the world, whatever that looks like. Nikki, so let's kind of dive through noodling out fear today. Talk to us a little bit about your experience, strength, and hope, and where we can go with this conversation on this.
Yes, thank you, Justin, because the world is riddled with fear. And we're going to read that in a minute. But I want to remind everybody that you're welcome here. You have a seat. You may say, I don't have any addiction. You know somebody or love somebody with an addiction. So I want to jump us right off and grab your friend's big book, get a big book. You need one. Here it is on page 28, Justin. I just want to go here because this is what we're doing here. It's a second paragraph, but I want to go to the very last sentence, which says, a new life. See, we forget that we're here in a new life when we get a big book, we get this fellowship, and we get new programming. So a new life has been given us. Or if you prefer, a design for living that really works. And I think in the last episode, we talked about really works. And so I want everyone who's listening, or if you've just fallen on this, and what are we about? We are about all addictions and afflictions, anyone suffering from any addiction, including being addicted to fear. Okay. And I want to read this and I'm going to go on. The distinguished American psychologist William James, in his book, For Varieties of Religious Experience, indicates in a multitude of ways in which men and women have discovered God. Okay, I want to go a little further. Oh, no, here, I'll keep reading. We have no desire. This is what we're doing. We have no desire to convince anyone that there is only one way. My line out says fake news, by which faith, because this is faith. We're seeking faith. Because if you are in fear, let's just go honest, Justin. If we are in fear at all, we have no God. But and if anybody knows Justin B and wants to know his story, you need to reach out to him. This is a man who knows religion, who knows a God, who knows his own personal God, who leads people in that kind of energy. And when I say you can fall deep asleep if you have fear, there's no God. And me too. I've got the word God tattooed on my neck for some reason. And I fall asleep and forget that even exists. So by which faith can be acquired. If what we have learned and felt and seen means anything at all, it means that all of us, whatever race, creed, or color, are the children of a living, and I put loving, creator. Like, do you meditate on that, you guys? Are you meditating that we talked in our last episode about being mirrors, about being connected? We are the children of a living and loving creator with whom we may form a relationship. See, that's what this is all about. We are here on the planet Earth to form a relationship upon simple. See, you've got to sweep away all your prejudice every day. Every day, you got to sweep away your prejudice. Think honestly what you were taught. Is that true? And search diligently within yourself. That's on page 55, but we're here on page 28. In understandable terms, simple, understandable terms, as soon as we are willing and honest enough to try, I put do. We do or do not. There is no try, says Yoda. See, those having religious affiliations will find nothing disturbing to their beliefs or ceremonies. There's no friction among us over such matters. All are welcome. Do what needs to be done. I said on your religious ceremonies, on your, whatever you do, that's welcome here. Do what you need to do, but everyone's welcome here. So we're talking about fear. Let's turn to page 67, bottom paragraph. Notice the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties. They're talking about Bill W.'s inventories. This short word, fear, and it's an acronym for all kinds of things, but we're talking about the word fear. This short word touches about every aspect of our lives every day. What's it? Fear. Fear is an evil and corroding thread every day. The fabric of our existence. The fabric. Remember, we're in a spirit world and you're in a meat suit. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it every day. Remember, we get a daily reprieve here, everybody. If you are like me and Justin, this is daily. And I needed to read this today with conviction, Justin, because I have been sitting in poopy pants every day. I vacillate. What's it, everybody? Fear. Because this is fear or faith. This is black and white. There is no gray here. Fear sets in motion trains, huge steam, rolling trains of circumstances, which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. My line out says, I make decisions based on self. I don't trust God. And that's of my understanding. Remember, simple terms. But did we not ourselves set the ball rolling? Sometimes we think fear ought to be classified with stealing. It stole half my vacation, and it was not cheap, my vacation. It stole so much time. I just recently lost my dog, Toby. Like, I spent a lot of time in fear when I could have been walking my dog. I don't want to drift into morbid reflection because I'm not allowed to do that. But fear seems to cause more trouble. You understand. Come in, Justin. Talk about that with me.
Yeah. So as I mentioned at the onset, thanks, Nikki, for sharing that, by the way, and what I love this phrase, fear ought to be classed with stealing. That's something that I've actually read with several people over the last month as they've talked to me about fear. I brought this and read that passage. I'm going to take us just a little bit out of the big book here, in my experience, and I'm going to read something. So I've printed this quote out of a book that I read, and it's called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now, Liz Gilbert is one of us 12-steppers. She's an author there, but that book, Big Magic, and this is a letter to fear that she had in this book, and I have it plastered right here next to my monitor. Dearest fear, creativity and I. So what she's naming here is creativity is always with a capital C. Creativity is the power of God, whatever that looks like. Creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting. And may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home. But understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, and I will never exclude you from our activities. But still, your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat, and you're allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the road maps. You're not allowed to suggest detours. You're not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you're not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. And that quote on fear is so powerful to me. It just, every time I think of it and read it, that's why I put it here, because when I talk to people and they start saying, yeah, fear's driving the boat, let's read this letter. And yeah, so Nikki is...
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
As I read that and as I share that, do you have any additional thoughts on fear in relation to what we're talking about here?
Well, Justin, I do want to say you did not take us out of the big book, because page 87 says there are many helpful books also. So thank you for that, because that's what we're supposed to do. Like, I mean, I'm like big books only, but I think I don't know if it was today or our last recording that I said, my sponsee sent me on the Stoics. I'm studying the Stoics, and I need a copy of that prayer. That is amazing. So my thoughts on that is that, basically let's everyone keep your finger. I'm just going to say page 53, but we are on page 68 still, because I want to read from here. But page 53 says the same thing. Let me just go there and just read it real quick. It says here, when we became addicts crushed by a self-imposed crises, these are, fear's always with you, and it's self-imposed if you let it take the steering wheel. So we daily cannot postpone or evade. We have to fearlessly face every day the proposition that creation, did she say creation? Yeah, she said creativity is everything, or creativity with a capital C is nothing. You understand? I mean, our book says God, but some of you don't want that word in your life, and that's fine. So I love what our friend Elizabeth Gilbert said, creativity and I. So creativity must be everything. This is very black and white. So back to page 68, which says here, it says, here it is, just as our friend said, perhaps there is a better way. Like, we can sit with that fear, but it doesn't need to drive the car. It doesn't need, I love that. It doesn't need to touch the radio station. That would eat my soul, just that. Forget about even driving. If fear started playing with the music, that would just eat. Like, get into that vision, everybody. And Justin, you do have a rate. I mean, you're the perfect, they probably don't know if I'm a man or a woman with this voice I have, but you have a perfect podcast voice. I love that. I mean, God is awesome. And so we think so. My book says we know so. See, I know. Let's just use our friend Elizabeth's word, creativity. See, for we, that's me and Justin, and and the world, we're now on a different basis. Why? Because we make a step 3 decision to give our life to creativity. That's what we give on a daily basis. And we are on the basis of trusting and relying upon this creative force. This creative force that's driving us, where I said, what's going to happen? It's like, don't worry. The creative force took the wheel, says Carrie Underwood. And then it says, we trust an infinite creator, an infinite I don't know how to say it, creativity. There we go. Rather than our finite, limited self. And fear is limiting. Fear is limiting. It limits you. See, who's we? All of us struggling with fear. We are in the world. We came to the planet Earth to what? To play the role that creativity assigned. What, like, I love that. What did creativity assign? I want to be like that. I want to be like this. Comparing will kill you. That's fear. And it says, just to the extent that we do as we think, some of us know, believe, are sure that creativity would have us, and humbly rely on creativity, does creativity enable us to match calamity, the problems of the world, the fear? You can match fear with serenity. My line out says, let God navigate. Isn't that crazy? Let God navigate. We just read the poem on let creativity navigate, drive, and control the radio stations. What are you thinking?
I'm just loving that these doors are coming together in different ways, or that they're opening up and opening into a room that is bigger and broader. The broad highway that we get to walk on here. It's not narrow. It's not constraining. It's broad. this power, this creativity, this God, whatever you want to call it, is infinitely huge, and there's no reason to limit that. And if my God, if my creativity, if my power is infinitely big, there's really nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. Now, fear will still crop up. That little fear voice, that big fear voice, whatever, will still scream. It'll still be in the car. It'll still be there. But I just love when I put my faith, when I put my action, when I put my attitude towards creativity, towards God, towards that power, fear gets to be in the car and still has a voice, but it does not have a vote and it can't touch the radio. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Do you have any other thoughts before we start wrapping up, Nikki?
Well, as you said, attitude, I thought of the Beatitudes. I thought of our radical friend, the Christ consciousness. And there's a scene, I know you love The Chosen, and it's clipped in. If anybody hasn't seen it, there's some beautiful scenes in there. Take what you like, leave the rest. But when he stands and says the Beatitudes, everybody know the Beatitudes, learn the Beatitudes, please. Again, that's not in the big book. Yes, it is. It says, see where religious people are right. And as our friend David G says, not that they are right, but where they are right. Because the Beatitudes are so special and beautiful. So I want to read this for us. Here it is. I'm going to read the next paragraph here. We never apologize to anyone for depending upon the Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality is a way of weakness. I look at the man I love, Justin, and his only answer, and always has been, and I think always will be, is God. And I'm like, when? 7 years later, when? Why? What? And he's just like, trust God. You need to get people like that in your lives, everybody. Get a person, get people. Surround yourself with people who say creativity, the Creator, God first. Paradoxically, it is the way of strength. The verdict of the ages is that faith means courage. See, it's not easy every day to choose being responsible, being forgiving of yourself and others. Forgive yourself. I constantly make mistakes. I have to forgive myself and others daily. All women, all men, all humans, I bet all animals, even my little Toby. All men of faith have courage. I saw Toby do some courageous things when he would chase squirrels. He had courage and faith. He had faith in me. I was his person. That's my little dog. They trust. Who's they? The world. People of faith and courage trust their God. Our friend Elizabeth likes to call it creativity. Call it what you want. We read page 28. Everyone's welcome here. We never apologize for what? For being responsible, for being loving, for being creative, for being patient, for being trustworthy, for being honest. Instead, we let creativity demonstrate through us what creativity can do. We ask creativity every day to remove our fear. Are you doing that, everybody? Are you asking God daily, remove this fear and direct my attention, my attitude, my belief system to what creativity, what this power would have me be, not do. Some of us are running around, Al-Anon, codas, codependents, control freaks, running around doing. You just have to be at once. And that's true, Justin. I have experienced this magic line. It's a big promise. At once we commence to outgrow fear. the four absolutes all day, every day. I needed this, Justin, because see, everybody, this is a meeting. This is two or more people gathered together talking about power. Justin is on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. It's 9:30 a.m. He's still at 6:30 a.m. Can you imagine with this thought life, what we've just talked about in a half hour? Well, and then he'll get in the car, there'll be traffic and someone will cut him off and then he'll have to start all over again.
That's how it works. That's how life works. Life keeps on lifing. And I appreciate that. I'm going to do two more quotes that I have on this letter to fear. I've got two quotes posted to it. One of them is one that came to my mind. You know, the serenity prayers, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can. And I've got here in quotes, courage to change the things I can. Question, can I change this? If so, get changing. And that's the one of the remedies to fear is action. Get into action. Do something about it. Find the things that I can change and take it. And if I can't change it, give it to God. Give it to creativity. Give it to your higher power. 10th step it and turn your thoughts to someone you can help. And then this next one. Do you have the courage to bring forth this work? Whatever work it is that you're being called to that sounds scary. Maybe there's some fear. But God, creativity is going to invite you into something that's scary. It's not going to be easy. If God is behind it, it's going to be scary. It's going to be something that stretches you. So do you have courage to bring forth this work? The treasures that are hidden inside you are hoping that you will say yes. And that's those treasures in there, hoping you'll say yes. Move through the fear. Give it to God. Trust. Take that step off the cliff. The Indiana Jones thing, you know, the invisible cliff there where you step off and all of a sudden there's something under your feet. Guys, that's how faith works. That's how faith works. At once we commence to outgrow fear. Fear's still there, but we outgrow it. And it becomes just a voice of, well, motivation in the end because I can turn it to courage. Nikki, I'm so grateful to be sitting down with you again and having these conversations. Everybody out there in the listening audience, keep sending those questions. If you've got something that's just eating your soul, send it our way. We're happy to be here with you, and we're happy to continue doing this with you. Let's continue to commence on this path shoulder to shoulder and keep coming back. Work it. You are worth it.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.